The history and tradition of Lehigh. You look in the history of what Lehigh has, and they've won championships. In 1977 they won a national championship, and that's years and years and years ago. But they've won the Patriot League and been dominant in the Patriot League for many years. And you want to go to a place that does win, cares about winning, and wants to continue to win. And that was all Lehigh, and it was a no-brainer to have this opportunity come down. And it was like, this is the one you want to go after.
After evaluating where the program is right now, what do you need to do to get back to that level?
We have to we got to recruit really hard. We have to recruit in incoming classes. The freshmen, coming in is be a good class for us to have. We got to build depth, and we got to find our playmakers and let them stay healthy and win games that way.
When you talk about recruiting, how important is this area in particular, but also to have a nationwide footprint as well?
Yeah, it's really neat that you can go anywhere within a half hour and you're at pretty dominant program, high school program, and District 11, District 1, all these, up into the coal region. Everything is, these kids care and they know Lehigh. That's why I'm passionate about recruiting locally, because the kids understand the value of Lehigh. But you also reach nationally, where Lehigh's known down in Florida. Lehigh's known down in Texas. Lehigh's known on the West Coast. If you find the right pockets, people know Lehigh, and I think that's valuable in recruiting. You can recruit anybody, but if they don't know the value of Lehigh, it's not as good of a relationship as if they do know the value of what Lehigh is.
I'm going to guess the long-term goals are to, again, win Patriot League titles and compete on a national level, but in the short term, what do you need to do for this program?
We got to get better each day. We know the end game, like you said. We know the end game is to win a Patriot League championship and to be a national prominence. That's not going to happen overnight. We've got to work. We've got to develop. We've got to recruit the right kids, and not only on the field but off the field too. Graduating and moving on in the real world. That's part of this program. That's part of what has always made Lehigh special.
This has been a young team over the last couple of years, so some of the holdovers do have some game experience. What do you like about what you saw in spring practice?
Yeah, we had a lot of growth in spring practice, and the freshmen, you can't be a freshman anymore. You got to be a sophomore, and each kid you tell them to, you got to grow up a little bit faster than you want to. These kids they develop a role as a young kid in their program, and they think that that's the role they should have all the time, and it's getting them to understand that the roles are redefined every time you step on the field, and it's up to you to define that role for that day. But these kids have done a good job of understanding that and trying to get their mindset ready. Like, hey, the time is now. We're not waiting any longer, but we need you now to be competitive.
Your coaching staff has just one holdover from last year in Mike Kasherba, who was the defensive coordinator. So you've got new coordinators. You've got guys that have had some head coaching experience. What do you like about your staff?
We've got a variety of characters, a variety of people, a variety of personalities. But the bottom line is they're all great men and they're all great mentors. And we're teachers. And they're phenomenal teachers. They did a great job all spring long. They all teach in different ways, which is really important. We're all saying the same message, but they're being forecasted a different way, which lands on kids differently. And that's all part of the coaching staff putting it together. Was all part of that, is making sure that I don't want everybody to be like me. That would be the last thing I want. I want people to challenge me to become a better coach, but also to challenge the players to become better players. And that's ultimately what will help us raise. Traditionally,
Lehigh hasn't done a lot of work with transfers, but the transfer portal has changed the game drastically. What's your thought on how you might want to use that?
I think the transfer portal is great for a piece here and there. We're going to be high school-based recruiting, because that's how you develop a program to be consistent winners. But if a kid is fit for right in the transfer portal and understands what Lehigh is and understands the value of Lehigh, and he brings a tremendous value to our organization, then we're foolish not to take a look at him.
Spring is only 15 sessions before you play the brown and white game to end that. What did you learn about your team in those couple of weeks?
I learned that they're not afraid to work, and there's a tremendous value in that. And we can point them in the right direction and change some things that we need to and adjust some personnel here and there. But bottom line is they wanted to work, and they came out ready to work, and we had fun doing it. And it's okay. I think they needed to learn that it's okay to have fun playing the game. This is still a game, the same game they played when they were 5, 6, 7 years old, the same game we're playing at college. Maybe the stakes matter a little bit more now, but we had fun doing it, and they were working.
I'm not asking you to put any timetables on anything, but after watching your guys in the spring, do you like the core of players that you have coming back?
Yeah, the kids are awesome. I really do. The kids overall have bought into everything we've tried to do, and there's been zero resistance. And these kids want to win. They've been through some turmoil here, and if you look at the history of what's been happening, not just the last couple of years, but the last 5 or 6 years, and there's been a lot of things happen with this program, and I think they all wanted to change. I think everybody wants a refreshed change and get back to where it was in the 2016, 17, 18 in that time frame.
It's your first time as a head coach, so you're still putting your stamp on certain aspects of the program. But what will a Kevin Cahill coach team look like?
The one thing is we're going to play hard. I can say that is we're going to practice how we're going to play hard, and we're going to execute at a high level. What does that look like execution-wise or scheme-wise? It depends on our personnel and who's in the game and how we're going to adjust that. We have to make defenses cover the whole field, and we have to put our athletes in space and make them tackle us. And defensively, we've got to do the exact opposite. We've got to shut down their top players and run to the ball. If you can run and tackle, you'll be okay on defense. And we got to tie the scheme up to our personnel. And special teams, we've got to be very, very sound and very aggressive and be very smart in what we're doing overall as a team and find ways in the fourth quarter to win games and take those close games that have been a part of Lehigh's brief history recently. They found ways to lose. We have to find ways to win those games. And it doesn't happen on Saturdays. It happens in the summertime and in the fall camps.
Ideally, you want to work offensively because that's what your forte is. You were the OC at Yale. What do you want that side of the football to look like when things are going right?
Score a lot of points. That's what Air Lehigh, I've heard all about it. I've seen it firsthand. I saw it at the Yale Bowl firsthand. It was one of the most impressive offensive explosions, in college history, really, in Yale Bowl history. But that's where we got to get back to. I don't care how we get there. I just want to score points. And there's not a person in our program that cares how we get there. We just have to score points offensively.
You come from a rivalry known as the Game with Harvard and Yale. It's a nice little rivalry, but it's not Lehigh Lafayette, which is the most played rivalry in college football. This will be number 159 coming up this year in Bethlehem. What do you know about the rivalry, and how excited are you to be a part of it?
I know a lot about the rivalry just from being on the outside in. And if you're in the coaching profession, you know about a few different rivalries, and this is the longest rivalry. And just to be a piece of that is pretty awesome. Not many people can talk about it being a part of the longest played rivalry, and having this much of an impact on the game will be a lot of fun. And we just want to make Lehigh proud. That's our number one goal, is to make them proud, and I know what that means for the Lehigh alumni.